I'm Althea. I am an artist that goes by Al the Alien Art. I'm feeling ready to make a proper video, and I guess I'll just dive into it. I wrote this down a couple months ago with this video in mind, and I just felt the need to hack it all out today. I'll edit it, put some pictures over it, make it all look real nice. I'm a YouTuber now. And so this is what I've learned about being an artist in the past 7 years. If you've joined my journey, then hi. Thanks for watching this, and if you're just joining this after this is uploaded, then hello in the future. The first one is building a brand and knowing your style, your medium. Takes years of not knowing what the fuck you're doing. I didn't really start painting until 2017, and that ended up being the medium that I really wanted to focus on at first. But before that, I was doing a lot of just drawing, colored pencil, marker, stuff that I didn't feel like was professional artist worthy, because in my head I was just doodling. It all started out with doodling pretty much. When I started painting, I just started to keep note of the things that I kept gravitating towards. For me, it's music, mental health, expanding consciousness, and exploring the unknown, getting to know yourself, and just anything in between. So earth, spirit, nature, soul, and so you'll see on a lot of my bios sound, emotions, and colors. Painting to trees, painting to emotions, painting to sound is kind of my big overarching theme, and that honestly took me years. To that point, be you, be self-conscious, but not self-critical. Okay, I think I'm getting comfy with it. Number 2. You can't create and edit at the same time. I have repeated this to myself. This is something that I wrote down in a notebook during one of my work conferences a couple years ago. And so there was one advisor who came in and spoke to us about growing pains of a business. And for some reason, it struck me when he said it. I didn't really understand what that meant. And I'm constantly realizing how real this piece of advice is. And so just as an example, making content while making art, I found has been very difficult, because some people create videos and create vlogs, and that is their creative medium. I'm not naturally a vlogger. For me, a painting creative flow, you kind of get lost in it for hours on end. So to think about like, oh, I gotta set the camera, like, oh, I have to record content, it wore down on me really, really quickly. I'm learning with vlogging, I can't expect myself to imagine how I'm gonna edit a video without recording something like this where I can edit it later. And I have a couple posts on my Patreon that kind of expand into this as well. So I explore this a lot. If you're a creative, I encourage you to consider the quote in everything that you do, that you can't create and edit at the same time. And so when it comes to creating content, one of the things that got me more comfortable with this is the time lapses. Simply because I can set the camera, so you can record yourself for an hour and end up with like a 30-second video. So that was a really great way for me to just start getting content, and I always found it to be a very healthy exercise to watch yourself just exist. And I do this a lot with also Wiggle Wednesdays, if you have known in the music community, but I used to record myself dancing just to be silly. It's very easy to be self-conscious about how you look or anything like that. Just the same way that athletes and dancers will record themselves and learn just by watching themselves. I actually do think that the time lapses have given me that opportunity to feel confident. So all that to say, there's a lot of ways that you can come at this piece of advice, but yeah, creating content for your content, it's an interesting world that we live in here. Just side note, if you're not someone who wants to make content out of your art, don't feel obligated to. This is just something fun I want to explore. And I hope you join me. Okay, before this video gets too long. Number 3, allow room for learning goals before expecting yourself to perform. So when you set yourself a goal and you say, I'm gonna exercise, I'm gonna lift weights. If you don't leave room for, I'm gonna learn how to lift weights, or I'm gonna learn how to do this skill, then you're setting yourself up for disappointment because you're not gonna know how to do it when you are going to do it. It feels so obvious. Know how you learn best and work with yourself, not against. I am a recovering academic, and I always expected very highly of myself academically, but what I realized through my master's program after going back to school is that I don't learn, I guess that's a neurospicy thing, whatever you call it. I've learned that the ways I've been taught and studied in school were very demanding for lack of understanding. So I'll just keep that one short. Just give yourself some grace and opportunity to learn the skill that you want to do. Wawa. Look at these stickers, so cool. Oh gosh. If you're a music fan, I will make a lot of these stickers. Closey and Ella Stream, Super Task with the slaps. Don't be a bitch about it. That's easy bake. A shout out specifically for my Patreon. Again, I have a sticker pack tier. Holy shit. A sticker pack tier where every month your monthly mailer includes any stickers I made that month. So if you've been liking the stickers that I've been making and you want to automatically get them every month to your door, that's it. Anyway, number 4. Art as an outlet can be a healthy coping mechanism, and it can be unhealthy too. Your perspective and relationship with your art matters. I also talk again about my mental health journey. I can do a whole other video about that, but it's woven into my work. And when I first started making art, it was through a time where I was experiencing a lot of hypomania. When I was not in those phases, I wasn't able to make art the same way, and I thought that I had to be in those high energy states of mind to create art that was worth it. And that was a really, really unhealthy perspective to have, because I would start to kind of push the edges of where I could handle not sleeping and doing art for hours in the library. I was so impressed with the things that I was creating in those states. I ended up setting a really weird relationship with how I was motivated to make art. It's the next day. It's the next day. You have to be able to not rely on any one state of mind to create your art. That's a huge reason why art and music are a huge part of my inspiration, because I listen to music all the time. It flows through different emotions, and it's something to flow to. That is a big reason why I love live painting. And yeah. At number 5 for now, give yourself the tools to create what you want. Prioritize what you need and make a list. Do research beforehand, even if you can't afford these tools. That way, when you do have the money to, you can jump right into it. You've done the research. Again, just giving yourself an opportunity to learn, just like number 3. Start with the cheap stuff first so that you can play around with different skills before getting the quality stuff. In my case, quality brushes, quality paint. I started out with like those little crafty $2 bottles you'll get at a craft store. And then I moved on to Liquitex. Then I ended up switching to golden heavy body acrylics, satin glaze, which I can use to thin out that thick bodied paint. While good quality things can really give your art fine quality, starting with the cheap stuff will get you started. And so materials before appliances. So for example, I invested in a printer earlier this year, but you can't, if you're just starting, you can always, use a third-party printer. What I did for a long time, a UPS store, to make your prints. Before that, I was using my college resource center that had a pretty good printing lab with a big scanner. So just use your resources as much as you can before investing in these really expensive appliances that make you look professional, but again, you need that learning time to practice. You need substance to apply to those appliances. And I think that will be it for now. This is 7 years into my journey. It was a really great way to reflect on overarching things and help me get started on the videos that I want to make. So just a recap, what I've learned so far being an artist in the past 7 years is 1, building a brand takes a long time of not knowing what the heck you're doing. Number 2, you can't create and edit at the same time. Number 3 is to allow room for learning before expecting yourself to perform. Number 4, art is an outlet and can be healthy and unhealthy. So your relationship with your art really matters. And lastly, give yourself the correct tools to practice. So that's it. If there's anything that I said throughout this video that you have questions about, hopefully this can be relatable to any creatives who are starting to find their own mediums and their own brands and just don't know where to start. I'm going to edit this all together. Editing last, Before I end the video, I just want to mention a little bit more about my Patreon. Thank you to the patrons who have signed up in this past year. I started Patreon at the beginning of the year. The content is free to access. All of these videos, some behind the scenes of all of my pieces. I will write long form blog posts about pieces and behind the scenes of that. You don't need to sign up if you want to just read one, so explore the collections I have on there. But if you do want to support my art, I do have some paid subscriptions. Every month you'll get something in the mail, whether that be all of the stickers that I made that month, the little bean sprouts, which get a 5x7 print every month in the mail, and the big bean sprouts that get a big 11x14 print in the mail. All the designs are made by me. If you have any questions about Patreon, if you've never been on Patreon before, it really is the best way to support independent artists directly in the work that they're doing. And it's great because you can get a lot of these stickers and prints cheaper than you would if you bought them separately. So okay, bye.